know, we've been talking to leaders about things in leadership, whether that's values and morals, or pros and cons, failing and succeeding, all over the place. And it's been very, very interesting talking to some of these leaders, aspiring leaders, and people in leadership development. And this obviously is all for the leadership development that we so desperately need right now with everything that's going on. So why don't you just tell us a little bit about what you've got going on as it relates to leadership, so people kind of have a framework or a frame of reference?
Sure. Yeah, since 2010, when I left IBM for the last time, I've been serving as the area director for CBMC, the Christian Businessmen's Connection, responsible for Charlotte and the Carolinas, actually, in terms of oversight for the ministry, that marketplace ministry focused on helping men become better men.
Wow, that sounds like a fascinating organization, and
Yeah.
I'm sure people would love to know more about that. So we'll definitely give them a way to connect with that
Right.
for this interview. And and what's really cool is you're around business leaders a lot. You're having conversations. You've been doing that for 10 years. So you started when we were in the middle of what was then a pretty big recession, and certainly you've seen the growth since 2010, and what Charlotte's been through. My goodness, it's been unbelievable. And now here we are in this pandemic. So when you look at leadership and you think about all these leaders you've talked to, what are some of the things that come to your mind when you think about the values of a leader?
Well, for me, it starts with the people, and a real passion for people. You have to lead people. You have to care about them. To lead them effectively, you have to care about them.
Right.
And good leaders definitely, their priority is serving the people that work for them. The other thing is, especially in times like this, we need encouragers. We need men that and women leaders that can see what their team is going through. And we're going to have ups and downs. Even in good times, we're going to have ups and downs, and we need leaders that can encourage people through the rough times, to hang in there and be focused on the vision, and which is another key element of leadership, is having a vision that's aligned with your purpose, your God-given purpose, and being able to communicate that effectively so that people will follow you.
No, I couldn't agree more. And so, because of the fact that you do what you do, I was just wondering, somebody's watching this and they're thinking about, that's really interesting. I didn't realize there was anything really even like that in the area. And then they're also thinking about this summit that you're doing in September. What is it about all this that somebody might think this is something I need to get involved in? Like, what would be their why as it relates to becoming a strong leader? And where my question is coming from, Bill, I think sometimes people struggle with leadership and leadership development because it's one of those vague and nebulous kind of a thing. So maybe if you put some tangible meat on the why would I want to get involved in something like this, queencityleaders.com, what would you say to them?
Well, one point is that it's an opportunity to learn, and that's another hallmark of a good leader. Is the good leaders are constantly learning, and so and part of what we do at CBMC is around mentoring. So you're sharing what you've learned as a leader, and the people that you're mentoring are learning from your mistakes and your successes. And we also have what we call peer advisory groups, where you can come together with other guys in a similar situation as you, either as business owners or as young professionals or as C-level executives. Groups like that can come together and serve as each other's kind of advisory board and encourage and support each other. And so that I think the mentoring and the teamwork, the camaraderie that we have as team members are all important things for people to get engaged in. I'll tell you, Ralph, you know, one of the things that I've seen and know about men is that when it's when times get tough, men tend to go into into their shell. They tend to
Mm,
isolate themselves, and that's
right.
a really dangerous time for men is when they're isolated.
No.
So with
Yeah.
groups like CBMC, you know, it's an opportunity to have a band of brothers around you that will encourage you and you know, kind of speak truth to you in terms of how to deal with a specific situation, and just be a sounding board.
Yeah, it's fascinating because, as you know, I do some work with the NFL as well, and everybody gets that in professional sports. Like nobody would think, anything of what you just said, how you explained very eloquently how the structure on an NFL organization works when it comes to the coaches, the coordinators, even the teammates, the peers, like you said, and everybody that's a part of that, everybody gets how that works. But for some reason, and that's why I asked the question, I'm so glad you answered it the way you did, because with leadership and with business, sometimes we just kind of lose sight of that, or we don't think of it in the same way. And I think you just made a really good connection. The next thing I'd like to ask you about is inspiration. What about, what inspires you? And then what do you see that helps inspire some of these leaders and really helps in this area of inspiration?
Well, for me personally, couple things. One is seeing other leaders that have been able to successfully balance their work, their family life,
Mm,
their faith, and so forth. We've had speakers the last couple of years. Joe Gibbs, our first year, and Frank Harrison, our second year, and now this year we've got the Benham brothers. All of those guys have been able to successfully balance their faith and their work, and they've been very successful in their work lives, and that inspires me. You know,
yeah.
to see good guys that living a balanced life that are successful,
Yeah.
and to be able to, you know, I've learned a lot over my X number of years on this planet. I'm not going to tell you how many there are, but I learned a lot late. And one of the things that I would strive to do is to share earlier with guys at a younger age
Mm,
some of the things that I've learned. And that inspires me to see young guys that have a passion to not only improve their careers, but improve their family life and their walk with the Lord.
yeah, yeah, and I concur. I certainly concur with that. But I would also tell the people that are maybe not young that it's never too late.
Yeah,
And I want to encourage them and
yeah,
inspire them too. I mean, when you think about Joe Gibbs, Super Bowl winning coach uh, with the Washington football team, how'd I do there? Not bad, right?
bad.
And then also, then he went into NASCAR later in life, and he's got a fascinating story and ended up winning the Cup
Yeah,
in NASCAR. So
right.
that's a great story. Then you talk about Frank Harrison, who is the CEO of the largest Coca-Cola bottling company in the world, based right here in Charlotte, and what he's been able to do. And then now you have the Benham brothers, who used to be in professional baseball and
Yeah,
got into real estate, and talking about how they've been successful in their professional lives, but also in their family lives and in
yeah,
other areas. I mean, that's a true inspiration. So, if that's what you guys are doing at the Queen City Leaders Summit, that in my mind is enough for somebody to say, wow, that's inspirational and that's exciting.
yeah, yeah. I agree.
Good for you. Well, listen, we're out of time. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. I'm sure everybody is going to enjoy listening to what you have to say because of what you've done and where you've been, but most importantly, because of who you are and who you work with. So thank you for that. I wish you the best, and I certainly wish the best for the Queen City Leaders Summit.
Thank you, Ralph. Been a pleasure.